Hello, thank you so much for purchasing with Medium Emary. Today we're going to give you a 3-question tarot card reading. So your name and info will be confidential. I will only go over the questions you have sent me. So I'm going to do a quick little prayer and clear out the energy. This lighter's giving me problems. Alright, we ask the universe now to reveal to this client what she needs to know in this present time. We ask that the information that comes through may come through God's higher purpose, God's higher intention. Anything of negative vibration or negative energy is not welcomed in this reading. As I ask to receive information from God's higher purpose, God's higher intention, I ask to also clear out the energy here from the last reading I just did for my last client, as I am now clearing out the energy and focusing in on this client's name. Please reveal to this person what she needs to know. Thank you. Alright, so let's start shuffling here. Alright, your first question is, will my job still be secure? I always have this feeling I'm not good enough there. I worry that if we were to have new upper management, I would be replaced. No matter what I do, I always feel replaceable no matter how hard I try to work under. Okay, so let's shuffle here. I notice, hun, you struggle with self-esteem and you struggle with just having that like confidence or loving energy towards yourself. It's okay to feel the way you're feeling. I do feel like a lot of what you feel is due to just past wounds and trauma, due to people or maybe even childhood or actual partners who have put you down or made you feel like you're not good enough. And that's something that over time, when it's constantly being presented to you like that, you start believing in it. So I would say one thing that could help you tremendously is working on loving yourself, working on finding the good and positive and beautiful things about yourself. Even if it's just one little thing, you could start off with one thing and just keep on going with that. I would say also learning to find ways to accept yourself and accept who you are, Once you start beginning to love yourself or begin that process of healing to love yourself, you will start seeing a lot of the things that will be presented to you in your life or in front of you. It will be easier to make decisions, easier to make choices because you know who you are and you love yourself, or you accept who you are. The more you get to know yourself, the more you don't care what other people think, the more you don't get affected by people's negative words, or the more like negative people won't have power over you. So this is something that you can work on and find ways to do that. You could do it through meditation, you could do it through prayer, you could do it through energy healing, crystal healing, chakra work, but those are very helpful. You can communicate with your guides as well to help you. Journaling is very helpful. But this is something that will help tremendously. Think of it as just the process of healing yourself, healing oneself from all the negative hates or belittling you received over the years. So let's start off. Will your job be secure? Alright. I would say work with rose quartz, as that is a very powerful crystal that will help you learn to accept, love yourself, and release anything that needs forgiveness, as I'm picking up the word forgiveness within you. Alright. It's funny. Alright, so it's interesting because we're talking about job and then money comes through here. So actually, it seems like everything's gonna be okay. I feel like your job will be secure. I actually see that there will be new things happening with your job, but it's a good thing. It's like new adventures, new discoveries, new things, maybe new changes with your job. Sorry, hun, my baby woke up, so she's on me. If I would have to log off again, I will, and just come back. But exactly what I was saying is that um, I actually see new discoveries. I see new things being presented to you in a very positive and really good way. So it's kind of saying like you're actually gonna embark in like bringing more positive energy into your job and your work field, so that's actually a good thing. Um, I feel either you like will get a higher position or a better position, or like there's something positive that's going to be presented to you. Just discovering new discoveries and new adventures with your job in a very positive way. It just shows here like that heartache or that sadness that you received from it because of the fear that you were talking about. But everything looks good, hun. The only thing it's saying kind of it's like you have to learn to balance those feelings so you don't affect just the energy of it. Like when you go into work or when you are working with other people or whatnot, it's kind of saying just find that balance so you don't overwhelm yourself. It's also saying like if you're doing more than one thing at a time, try to work on just one thing at a time. So again, you don't overwhelm yourself. It's kind of saying just to find that balance and moderation in all that you do, work and everything else, as that will help tremendously. It's also saying here money wise, and this represents when somebody's very generous and loving. So it's kind of saying learn to say no sometimes. You can't always be so kind to people or like be so generous to people. Could be with money or anything else. Learn to say no sometimes when you feel like you don't want to do something, especially if you feel like it's going to affect you in a negative way. It's just saying just protect yourself in that level and not let people take advantage of you or mistreat you. Um, but it's also saying to be logical, no matter what, in whatever you do, especially in your work and your career. But it's saying that you're a very kind, sweet person that has to just be, strong in how you think of yourself and how you project yourself to others. Again, that all has to do with loving yourself and finding ways to accept yourself. So it all ties in, but I do see your job being very secure, and I do see you actually like new positive changes happening with your job within the next year or so. So it looks good, hun. It looks really good. It just shows that sadness and that heartache and the overwhelming feeling of it all. But if you find that sense of balance, like I said, and you use logic and you learn to say no, all will be okay and it will all work out. So this is your positive card of new discoveries um, being presented to you in your job. So that's really good. Okay, so we're going to move on to your next question, which is, will I ever be free? I feel like a constant feeling of fear of being trapped or captured by my fear. It's paralyzing sometimes. I wish I could take my daughter to do things, but that constant feeling of fear makes me homebody, and my daughter hates me for it. Oh my goodness. Actually, I can relate to that tremendously. I can relate to that tremendously. Sorry, hun. So what I was saying is that I can relate to that, mostly when my daughter was very little, when she was born, I was scared to go out, I was scared to do anything, and sometimes I'm like that, but not all the time. I do feel that fear, though. That usually represents the fact that you're an empath, you're very sensitive to energy, and that's all about, you have to find ways to ground yourself. I'm going to send you a video about grounding after, with the reading video I'll send you. But grounding is something really important. Grounding is actually something you could do walking barefooted outside. I'm using tiger's eye. I don't have it here. It's brown. Tiger's eye. Anything that's like natural colors of the earth helps with grounding, because sometimes when we're very sensitive to energy and just fear, just when that feeling comes through, you got to find ways to balance it. It's being connected to the earth. You could be connected to the energy around you, but you have to be grounded with the earth to be able to function in this reality, because this reality is very difficult to function because of the intense negative energy that you pick up. So it's this fear, but it's finding the way to ground yourself. And I'm going to pull out 3 cards for that just to see what your guides have to say. But when I read your question, that's what I pick up. Your answer to that would be grounding. You have to find ways to ground yourself. When you feel like you're going to get like that, take a deep breath or pray, or you could do yoga. Finding ways to ground yourself, walking barefoot, using the brown crystal. There's many different techniques, but those are like the most common ones. But your answer to your question number 2 is grounding. Which I understand that people who suffer from anxiety as well suffer from that sense of fear. But I can't tell you what to do, because it's your life and it's just guidance and stuff. But going out, you can't always be afraid of things or afraid of everything in your life, because then you'll never be able to live life. Your daughter will never be able to experience that childhood or live life in the way that other kids are trying to live. Actually, the more you fear, the more energy you're putting into the thought of fear, so you're going to create negative things around you. You're going to have negative things manifest. So you have to learn how to select your thoughts and deal with your thoughts. The more positive you become, the more positive energy will flow. It's like you're not allowing the positive and goodness to flow into your life because you're always scared of doing everything. You can't be scared of life, hun. It's like then you're scared of living. And living is the answer, because without living, there's only death. And even then, death doesn't really exist. We just transition on into a different place. So what is there really to be afraid of? It's just all has to do with your trust and your faith and hope in God and in angels, and knowing that there's always constant support spiritually with you and your daughter and protecting you guys no matter what or no matter where you go. If you go outside or to the park or to movies or traveling, So it's all about that sense of faith, grounding and having faith, having more faith. You have to have more faith in God and in your angels. So let's see here what your guides have to say. Sorry if it's kind of like a rant I'm going into, but it's information and feeling like you should know. And I think it has to do with your relationship energies coming through, which I know your last question was about your relationship with your partner. Again, it's all focused on the energy of feeling like you're losing control, which this card represents. When you feel like you're losing control, fear starts coming up. It's like you feel like you have no control of things. So it's kind of saying, try to let go of control sometimes and let go of the sense of needing to control a situation or things around you. You can't control everything. Sometimes you just have to be in the present moment and go with the flow. And then this card represents just the concept of that you can't overwhelm yourself. Again, it's all about balance, and overwhelming yourself with emotions. It can be very draining, and you have to work on that, as that can affect you, and also can affect your relationship. As it does seem to me, your relationship obviously has some form of disharmony right now, but I do feel like it can be worked on. It's just there's a lot going on, and it has to do a lot with how you feel within yourself too. So let's see what question number 3 is. I know it has to do about your relationship, but question number 2, I would say grounding and having more faith in God and believing in God more. I can relate to your second question tremendously. And it's because you're an empath. That's why you feel such intense energy. We live in a very intense world, hon, so you're picking up on just everything that's been happening. Alright, my husband, I have hit a very rough patch. Constantly feels I have to stick it out because no one will want to love me. I'm positive and happy-go-lucky and outside, but I feel like I'm slow, dry. Just because people can be positive, happy-go-lucky on the outside doesn't mean they're happy within themselves. I'm that kind of person, very outgoing and friendly and positive, but I suffer within myself. I suffer with myself, like feeling lonely or sad or feeling misunderstood, anxiety, fear, or have panic attacks that just come over me. Okay, so I'm going to just tune into the love aspect. Again, your third question has to do with loving and accepting yourself and finding ways to heal yourself. Okay, but I would tune into your energy with your love relationship. And your second question kind of answered your third question too. You need to work on your overwhelming feelings, and that will help your relationship tremendously. It will help you detach from taking things on such an intense level. Again, that has to do with grounding, because if you're not grounded, the relationship will not be grounded. I also feel like there's lack of communication on your husband's part, but that's something you can't control. Again, it has nothing to do with you, and you can't control everything. Again, that card with the controlling thing, that's what throws you off, and you learn sometimes you have to let go, let God. Now, it's not about sticking out for the relationship. It's mostly about knowing what you can accept and what you can't accept, and knowing your limits in how you could deal with a person or deal with a relationship. I feel like your relationship, I feel like it's workable. I feel like this is just something you both are going through. And all you have to do right now, for me, from my perspective, a spiritual perspective, is work on yourself. When you start working on yourself, you will find that enlightenment within yourself. And it'll get to that point, then you'll know what you want, what you don't want. And the relationship itself will start just not being so intense. Because I feel like you need to find that happiness within yourself. Just start following your own enlightenment. You're going to see he'll probably notice, hey, she's, I don't know, changing or doing things more with herself, or just she looks like she's feeling good. I mean, why is she feeling good? We're having problems, but then that'll make him curious, or maybe want him to see what you're doing, and then that'll make him want to connect with you. So it all has to do with you, hun, and with yourself and how you see yourself, and then everything else will fall into place around you. But let me see what I pick up with the relationship here. I feel like it's workable. I feel like it's an experience that's happening right now, and it will change. As I got here, which is interesting, I got here the World, and I got here the Wheel of Fortune. So these two cards represent, the World means that you have the whole world ahead of you. This can mean also traveling overseas, so can be traveling, but it also focuses on, like, you have the whole world up ahead of you. This is like something that is like you're being tested right now. You and your partner are being tested. Again, with the Wheel of Fortune means you're being tested, but things look like they're going to get better. Like, things are going to keep moving now. Things will keep moving. All will be okay. Even though you feel unhappy, which is what this card means, things will be okay. You have to work on yourself, which you are the Queen of Wands, which represents somebody who's independent, strong, beautiful, outgoing. Once you start working on yourself, these things will just start falling into play and start moving forward. This is just the concept of the loss, the feeling of loss. But it's kind of saying, work on yourself, and then you'll see the relationship itself will start unfolding in a natural, positive way. It's all about just not trying to control so much. You can't control what people do. You can't control the way they are. You can't change people. People are the way they are, And if your husband's the way he is, that's who he is. But I do feel the relationship is workable. I feel like it can get better. That's how I feel as I tune into your energy and the relationship itself, hon. So, I'm going to send you a video about grounding, and I'm going to probably send you another video. Please watch these videos if you can. I feel like this is really important. The answer to most of your questions is about self-love, really, and working on yourself and finding ways to accept and love yourself, which we can't always completely love ourselves, because I don't completely love myself. I have things that I dislike about myself, or I struggle with. I really struggle with my anxiety and my panic attacks, or the feeling of why I belong here. I feel so spiritually connected that this dimension throws me off and makes me feel so heavy, and I don't like how this place feels, but I have to know that I'm experiencing this human experience for a reason. And that's all you have to think of it as. It's like lessons. You're going through lessons and learning more about the world and yourself and who you are. So this is all you have, and over time, when you start learning about who you are, you will then start beginning to accept and love yourself more, like I said. But there's so many different things you could do to begin that journey. But I think that's literally the answer to everything. You could be a certain way on the outside, but that doesn't mean anything, hon. And also, if you feel certain emotions, if you feel negative emotions, release it. Allow yourself to feel like that. There's nothing wrong with feeling sad, unhappy, or hurt. Feel those emotions. You need to feel it. Maybe holding it within yourself with all this time maybe has made it worse. So you have to go through those emotions to release too. So I hope this video helped, and I'm really sorry about my baby earlier. I thought she was gonna sleep more, but she didn't. And I didn't want to start this video all over again because I felt like I brought good information. So I send you lots of love from the heavens above. I'm always here for you. If you need questions, if you need any guidance on any questions again, I'm here. I will send you some videos that I wanted you to watch. So send you lots of love. Bye now.